It is the top of the hour. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I'm Nichole Berlie, live at our NewsNation headquarters in Chicago, and we have a lot to get to this hour. That includes the devastation in Los Angeles, but we are starting this hour with breaking news coming out of the Middle East, where a long-awaited ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas has reportedly been reached. It comes after more than 15 months of war. It would lead to the release of dozens of hostages and comes at a time when the Trump administration is preparing to retake control of the White House. Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio and Attorney General pick Pam Bondi. Right now, they are both in hearings today as we give you a live look there. If confirmed, Rubio would, of course, play a big role on the world stage.
Let me begin by speaking of the recent news of a ceasefire agreement in the Middle East. I have good news. I have just been informed by the administration that a deal has been agreed to. It is welcome news that there is an agreement that will free many of the hostages. A ceasefire is very good news for Israel, for America, for the Palestinian people, and particularly for the hostage families who have waited so long in agony. A ceasefire will reduce violence in Gaza and harm to innocent civilians. It couldn't have happened without steadfast diplomacy and until the potency of Hamas was radically reduced. We will not rest until every hostage comes home.
And so lots of reaction coming in. That was a reaction from Senator Chuck Schumer there just moments ago. Let's get out to correspondent Robert Sherman following this for us from outside of Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And Robert, this has truly been months in the making.
Yeah, Nichole, without question here, and obviously a lot of information is coming down in the last hour, so let's reset as to exactly what we know at this juncture. An agreement in premise between Hamas and the Israelis has been sorted out, but one procedural aspect that still needs to take place is this security cabinet vote, which we're anticipating is going to be taking place tomorrow. We know that some, including the foreign minister, are now on their way back to Israel in order to participate in those discussions and those successive votes that would be taking place here. In terms of what the deal would look like, Israeli sources are telling us that if this all comes to fruition, you're looking at 33 hostages being released over a span of 6 weeks. The first hostages potentially coming out of Gaza on Sunday. Keep in mind the timing of that. That would be 1 day before the inauguration. But there's another element to all of this here, Nichole, which is that about 16 days into the agreement, that's when the phase 2 discussions of the deal need to take place. And that's the tricky one, which is determining what Gaza will look like on the other side of the war. Who will govern Gaza? And that is an area in which many Israelis have concerns. You've heard again and again, 2 objectives of the war: bring the hostages home, restore security inside of the Gaza Strip. The fear among some Israelis is that if this war ends prematurely, that they will effectively either A, allow Hamas to continue to govern in Gaza, or B, create a power vacuum that allows another group to take control of the Gaza Strip. The president-elect is insisting that that will not happen, as he is already coming out declaring victory on this, saying that he wants to expand this out in a similar way in which he delivered the Abraham Accords under his last administration to try and get more countries around the region to normalize Israel. But the message that we're getting from a lot of Israelis is that they feel as though that this conversation is not done yet, particularly because you're talking about 33 hostages coming out over 6 weeks. That's not all of them. And there are concerns that if this deal fizzles, particularly in those second phase discussions that need to start taking place in a little over 2 weeks into this deal here, that if this fizzles, the door could effectively be closed on getting the rest of the hostages out. So there's still a lot of people who we're speaking to in Israel who are holding their breath right now, hoping that all of this gets sorted out promptly.
Yeah,
Nichole?
and Robert, you raised such an important point there. The deal is not officially approved yet. As you said, Israel still needs to vote, still needs to approve its side of this. So, of course, we will see what happens. Robert Sherman on this breaking news for us there out of Florida. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.